I put a little slide up here for you because we have to mention Agile because that's really why I'm here. Project management was the foundational piece, but now as time has gone on, we've added other capabilities, and I'll explain those to you. We've added things like Agile. You hear Agile, that term a lot. Agile, and then there's the Scrum, and then there's Kanban, and I mean, there's so many things. I can't keep them all straight. I just like to call them project management. But let me give you an example of why you need to think about this. Everything you do is a project. Now, it was kind of interesting to watch tonight as you sauntered in, some of you. What I would say to those people who came in late is your project is late. You had a project to do, and that was to get here on time. Project's late. Project's late. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Everything's a project. Everything you do is a project. It has a start, it has a finish, and it has a bunch of stuff in between. That's what a project is. It can be very complex, like building a whole new city like Saudi Arabia. It can be very simplistic in terms of writing a very small program for use in personal application. So you've got to look at it from that perspective. So what I want to point out to you is planning is key to all of this. Everything we talk about is planning. One of the mistakes that we've made in America is that we got to thinking that we were so smart that we didn't need to plan. And we just started to execute, just started to build, just started to put things together. And when we got all done, they didn't look like they were supposed to look. That's because we need to plan. And I think until we understand that, until we devote the time that's necessary to plan, we're going to continue to see not necessarily bad results, but late results, more expensive results than we planned on, and things are not going to be adequately developed for the country of the Bahamas. And it's as simple as that. And so we look at that from that standpoint. Now, I actually used to manage projects for a while until one of the things I found out early on in life is I really don't like work. That was one of the things that hit me very early in my career. And then, so the reason I fell in love with project management is, my view again, project managers don't do work. They get work done through others. You see, the theory is, if I can take one person and they can motivate and stimulate and get 10 people going, rather than them working as hard as they've ever worked in their life, that's more productive and more effective. So being a project manager doesn't mean you're going to be doing a lot of work yourself, physical hand work. You're going to be doing mental work. And that's where you come into play with using these ideas of motivating people by helping them understand what do we need to do. If you think about your, how many of you have children? I'm sorry. But for those of you who have children, think about it when you were teaching them how to ride their bike, okay? Did you just set them on there and say, go? No, you did. Well, some of us did, I guess. You wouldn't want to do that because you haven't taught them anything. They don't know what that is. Just saying, go ride your bike, son. That doesn't mean a whole lot. Projects are exactly the same way. When we start to talk about executing a project and we give that project to some individual on our team and they go, what's this? That's a failure to plan. So we need to take the time to understand what is the deliverable? What is the deliverable? Now, we do things for a reason. And let's check the honesty of the group. How many of you are going to school? Well, let me just say, how many of you are going to school now? How many of you wish you weren't going to school now? Okay. Well, it seems consistent. That's good. So if you look at that, though, let me ask you this. Why are you going to school? Because you want to eat? Is that what you said? We want to eat? Well, that's not a bad reason, really. But here's the difference. Project managers eat caviar. Okay? Project managers eat the good stuff. And your school is a way to get to that. But here's what I've learned a long time ago If I take a motivated student, whoever that might be, and start to talk to them seriously about the potential associated with project management, eyes start to light up, because you start to talk about what you can accomplish, what you can see done. Seeing something done in front of your face gives you a sense of accomplishment like nothing else. And then when you get paid, big, I'm talking about big money, I'm talking $3, $4 an hour. These guys are they're making the big money. So you want to look for opportunities where in a country like the Bahamas, how can I as an individual make a difference in this country? That's a key question to ask yourself. You're not just going to school for the heck of it. You're not just going to get that degree. That degree is not really that important if you're not accomplishing something. And so you want to look at it from that standpoint. That's why I'm here tonight, is to try to get you enthusiastic about what comes after the classroom. And you'll find that you're going to start to use some of these techniques in the classroom. They're going to help you get some of your studies done along with the other things you've got to accomplish. So let me tell you a little bit more about the idea of project management. Then I got to get to Agile and Kanban, and I mean, I forget all the terms. But here's the thing. Planning, there's 5 phases, really. You identify what it is you want to do. Okay, that seems reasonable. Then you plan it. And then you resource it. You decide how am I going to pay for it, or who's going to do it, okay? Then as you start to move through the process, let's say it's a 1-year project. When do you decide to take a look at how we're doing against the plan? We plan, that's second stage, plan, third phase, resource. And when I'm done with that, I have a plan, an integrated plan with budgets spread over time, resources spread over time. Then when I get to that 4th phase, it's called statusing. Now, what goes on in statusing? How long do I have? What goes on in statusing? This is hard. College students, I know. What goes on in statusing is you status. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's why we call it statusing. And that is comparing where we are today with where we thought we'd be today, okay? Now, the beauty of Agile, it's coming. The beauty of Agile is rather than wait till midway through a 1-year project or 9 months through a 1-year project before we take a good hard look at status, you're doing that on a regular basis. Some will say a 2-week basis, some will say a 4-week basis. The beauty of that is this. You can't go very far off from plan in a short period of time. But if you wait till 6 months or 9 months into a 1-year project, you can be missing the point completely. And so the Agile is brought to this idea that, hey, we don't want to wait. We don't want to wait until we screwed up. We don't want to wait that long. We want to review status on a regular basis. And that way, then we can make adjustments if we need to get to where we want at the end. The other difference is we don't generally plan in detail the entire plan of the process. In other words, we plan in detail short periods of time, but in generalities out periods of time. That saves a lot of time for people doing the work. We call it rework. Because if you don't do Agile thinking, you'll end up with rework. There's no question in my mind about that, because nobody knows enough to do it without a plan and without statusing against that plan regularly. But yet we see it all the time. I work with pretty big companies. You've heard of some of these. You may have heard of IBM. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've trained about 30,000 IBM people. And they're really, really smart, but they're stupid at the same time, which is kind of an anomaly. But nonetheless, and the reason I say that, with the most respect possible, the reason I say that is because they are so busy doing, they don't take time to check. They don't time to look at how are we. No, it doesn't matter if we're going fast. Are we getting the right things done? I don't know, but we're going to be there sooner than anybody else. And so all of a sudden you begin to realize this is a part of the process we need to take advantage of. Yeah, you do it in your classwork. When you look at, when you're midterm and you see you got a C, do you change your approach? Well, some of you do. Yeah, some of you do, because you can see if I've got a C and I wanted an A and I need an A to go where I want to go, and at mid-course I got a C, we're in trouble. And what you do is you modify your behavior. You modify what it is you're doing that will result in that A instead of a C. And that's basically what we're talking about as we look at that and understand how this all fits together, okay? Now, I don't think that this is that complicated. Now, I was going to say I make a heck of a lot of money for doing this, but I don't make a dime. I don't make a dime. My 2-year mission is free. I'm spending my time coming to locations like this, investing my time to see if I can add value to what it is we're trying to accomplish within our country. How to make it a better place, how to make it be a place where people want to come and want to stay. And we do that by the amount of projects and the quality of the projects that we run. And if we don't do that, then we'll just be another small island country like a lot of others that are around. So if we want to make that kind of an investment, if we want to point direction in that way, then we've got to be willing to invest as students or as young adults to making it happen. To making it happen. Now, I lied to you about my age. I'm not 40. Some of you picked up on it, I know. There's some fairly bright people back here in the back. I'm 76, okay? I started managing projects when I was 19. So I've been doing it for a while. Have I ever had a failed project? Yeah, sure. Did I ever tell anybody? No. No, you don't tell people when you fail, you just change it. And so that's how I got into training. I had a project that was very complex, and frankly, I didn't have the technology background to really do a good job, but I knew who to ask. I knew who to talk to. And that's another important for project managers. You don't have to have all the answers, but you need to know where to go get them. Nobody has all the answers, but if I know where I can go get the answer, you're a pretty valuable person.